Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. David Abram here as always. And today's video, I wanted to talk about something I like to call the indoctrination. Now, a lot of people have heard of this word indoctrination, especially as MGTOW, and I wanted to shine a light on this term of indoctrination and how I believe it applies to MGTOW on so many levels. Now, to start off, my take on indoctrination is when, from an early age, a person is basically brought up to believe in an ideology and brought up to support that ideology because they've been taught through various forms of entertainment and various forms of social circles that is the norm at the time. And I wanted to touch a basis on this because this goes head in head with MGTOW's beliefs and ideologies. Let's say a person has been brought up since they were 5 years old to believe that marriage was one of the best things that a person could do. And they do this even nowadays through a lot of different movies. One of the first movies for me that comes to mind is Shrek. Now, if you've all seen Shrek or seen the Shrek franchise, particularly the first one, you'll know that Shrek at first was a single man, or single ogre if you will, and he meets a princess after he rescues her from a castle by Lord Farquaad, and along his journey back to Duloc falls in love with her. Now, this subliminal message is a message that love is a very real thing, and that love is marriage in a sense, because at the end of the movie, he falls head over heels for Fiona, and he puts a ring on it, he marries her. That's the sort of the gist of the movie. Now, if a kid is watching this, let's say 4 to 6 years old, or 4 to 8 years old, or whatever bracket you want to group it into, he would receive the indoctrination that marriage is a great thing and that he should get married because marriage is about love. So let's say this kid has been indoctrinated through a lot of other means that marriage is a great thing through his friends, his family, and his other peers, and overall the gynocentric environment he's brought up with. Let's say 15 or 20 years down the line, he has a strong foundation built off of these ideologies and believes that marriage is an excellent thing and it's all about love. Until he runs into a unique individual who somehow has broken free of this indoctrination and tells him that, oh no, bro, I think marriage is a total ruse, it's a scandal, and it's a business contract that has nothing to do with love. Now, naturally, he may look at that individual with a lot of skepticism, and potentially may even attack him, especially if he's among a social group and the one who opposes marriage is a lone wolf. And this relates to MGTOW because essentially this is why MGTOW gets attacked. It's not so much that MGTOW's ideologies are wrong or even right. It just comes down to what's popular and what isn't popular, in my honest opinion. And the reason why MGTOW gets attacked is because there is no real indoctrination that teaches people out there that marriage is a business contract and really has nothing to do with love. Though the indoctrinations do exist that marriage is about love and that marriage is one of the best things that a man can do. But as MGTOW, we've escaped this indoctrination. The only problem is that our ideologies, our beliefs, our practices, and our culture as a whole just isn't very popular. It's not necessarily about being right or wrong like some MGTOW haters like to make it out to be. It's really more or less what's popular among a group or society and what isn't so popular. For example, let's take 800 people, and out of those 800 people, 790 of them like football. They think football is one of the best sports out there. Everybody should play football. But you have another 10 people from the group of 800 that say, nah, I think football is a waste of time. I don't like football. It's pointless. And let's say they like hockey, and they think hockey is where it's at. And they think hockey is the better sport and the best sport there is out there. Now, the 790 who like football naturally would have skepticism of those other 10. And it's not so much that their preference is right or wrong, or their ideologies of which is the best sport is right or wrong. It's just for the simple idea that their ideologies and their views and their opinions are not popular among that mix. And so, if they're in the wrong group, they would get attacked. And the same thing goes for MGTOW. So, to all my fellow MGTOW brothers who are listening to this, just remember, right and wrong really isn't so much of the question as it is what's popular in a society and what isn't very popular in a society. And it just so happens that MGTOW's beliefs and ideologies are very unpopular at the moment, especially in a gynocentric world and a gynocentric society. So, this is why MGTOW gets so much criticism and why MGTOW gets attacked so much. It's really nothing to do with morale or immorality. It's just more about what's popular and what isn't. So, all the shaming language and all of the attacks, if you will, that we face on a day-to-day basis has nothing to do with us being incorrect, being wrong, being invalid, or anything of that nature. It just happens to be that our ideologies and our beliefs are very unpopular. And because of that, we are attacked and we are subject to many criticisms. But that doesn't make what we say any less valid or any more invalid. It just simply means it's not very popular among the social norms, and it's not very popular among society, and it may not be politically correct. And that's why, truth be told, we get attacked. So to any of my newcomers who may be tuning into this as well, just know that when you go MGTOW, right and wrong isn't so much as a variable as what's popular and what isn't. And if something isn't very popular, it's subject to attack by the numbers, especially in today's Western world. A prime example, or another example I could conjure off my head, is a person who believes that happiness, or is indoctrinated that happiness is dictated by that person finding their other half, aka a woman. Now, if they've been indoctrinated with this concept from the time they were 4 years old, and 20 years down the line, they meet a person who says, no, my happiness is just me and me alone. Me, myself, and I is what makes me happy. And I don't need a woman, nor do I desire a woman. And I think, frankly, searching for that special someone is detrimental and a waste of time, money, and resources, and could be spent pursuing my interest and passion. Now, when a person hears that, that's been indoctrinated with the idea that they have to be happy, and in order to achieve that happiness is to find that special half, aka a woman, and they hear somebody say that, no, I don't need that, I think this is a waste of time, of course, naturally, they would be very skeptical of that person. It's something they've never heard before, so naturally, they would fear that, and if not fear it, at least look at it with a lot of criticism. But you can't really blame those who do that, because that's just a product of them being part of a specific environment. And so, when they're molded out to be that way, there's really a bigger picture than what meets the eye. So, that's why sometimes I think it might be a little bit of an importance to, as much as we despise the blue pill, sometimes I think it's a good idea to at least have some level of sympathies, because a lot of us MGTOW were there ourselves. I'm pretty sure a good amount of MGTOW have been through marriage and divorce, and as a result have a few battle scars. But that being said, I just thought that this was a rather important topic to discuss, because truth be told, as I've said earlier, it has nothing to do with us being moral, immoral, right, wrong, or whatever you want to call it. It just so happens that MGTOW at the moment is not popular. Though it is becoming increasingly popular at the moment when it comes to the gynocentric world, politics, government, etc., we're very unpopular, and that's why we're subject to attacks. It's like you have a flowing river with a flowing current in MGTOW, instead of going with the flow of the river and the current, are going against it. And naturally, whenever you do decide to go against something, we're always subject to attack. So, I hope that sort of cleared up what the indoctrination really does on the wide scale of things. And what are your thoughts on this? If you have anything I missed, or you have a thought on this, please do feel free to leave it in the comments section below. Please subscribe, like, and have a nice day. Cheers.